Good afternoon. I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, January 20th. This is the second hearing this month for the hearing officer of the City of Tempe. My name's Vanessa McDonald, and I'm conducting the hearing this afternoon. I'm going to go ahead and read something into the record before we jump into our agenda this afternoon. The City of Tempe hearing officer is authorized by Arizona Revised Statutes and the City of Tempe Zoning and Development Code. The hearing officer is granted the authority to conduct public hearings to decide upon the abatement of code violations occurring on properties within the city. These violations include deteriorated pools, structures, or landscaping, storage of junk or refuse, and storage of inoperable or unregistered vehicles. Abatement actions are brought before the hearing officer by the city's Code Compliance Division, typically after numerous attempts at contacting the property owner to obtain voluntary compliance with the code. The hearing officer may issue an order directing the owner, occupant, property manager, or other responsible person to remediate a code violation, or may authorize the city to abate the property to correct the violation. The cost of the abatement is the responsibility of the owner of the property where the violation occurs and will be collected as an assessment against the property in violation of the code. On today's agenda, we have 6 items. We have a set of minutes from January 6th, 2026, and 5 property abatements. Any property owner who is aggrieved by a decision of the hearing officer may file an appeal within 14 calendar days after the hearing officer has made a decision. The deadline for appealing any decision rendered today is 3 p.m. on February 3rd, 2026. Appeals are heard by the Board of Adjustment, after which they may also be appealed to the Superior Court. A property owner has 14 days after the hearing officer's decision to either file an appeal or bring their property into code compliance. If an appeal isn't filed on the property isn't brought into compliance within this 14-day window, the property will be abated by the city. Joining me this afternoon from Community Development to my left are Cassidy McFerrin, Drew Yoakum, and Sean DeFara. Thank you guys for being here. So now we can move on to our agenda. The first item on the agenda is a set of meeting minutes from January 6th, 2026. I had a chance to review the minutes when they were sent to me after that hearing, and I think they accurately reflect what took place at that hearing. So I'm going to go ahead and approve the minutes from January 6th, 2026. Agenda item number 2 is a request for approval to abate public nuisance items at the Cecere property. I'm taking a stab at that last name, located at 504 East Carver Road. The applicant is City of Tempe, represented this afternoon by Code Inspector Melissa Ensing. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Madam Hearing Officer. My name is Melissa Ensing, and I'm a Code Compliance Inspector with the City of Tempe Code Compliance Division. I'm here this evening to request a 180-day open abatement for the property located at 504 East Carver Road, Tempe, Arizona 85284. This case was initiated on April 23rd, 2025 for Green Pool. I have sent 2 correction notices to the property owner for deteriorated landscape that entails dead trees and bushes and other overheight grass and weeds in the front and rear yards. I have been in contact with the owner and have discussed the violations. I have given the homeowner Care 7 and Heart contact information for the programs through the City of Tempe. Code Compliance has received 5 complaints for this property. 1 citation was issued to the owner on September 29th, 2025. The owner failed to appear in court. At this time, I'd like to present photos taken today of the existing violations.
Thank you.
This is an overview of the front of the property. As you can see, there's overgrowth that starts from one end and goes all the way across. In this view is a closer view of the overheight grass and weeds that are overgrowing in the front yard.
Thank you.
You can see on this one, it goes up to the front window.
Yeah, the pictures in my packet were dated November 21st, and it's gotten significantly worse
It has,
since then.
yes. Here's another view of the front yard. It just shows how tall the grass and weeds are growing, as well as there's a stump that part of a tree was cut down and then never removed. And then you can see a dead tree in the backyard. And then this is a closer view of the stump, how tall it is, and then also the dead tree in the backyard. Oh, and you can also see the overheight grass and weeds. It's getting to the top of the stump as well.
Oh,
As stated before, I'm seeking a 180-day open abatement for deteriorated landscaping located at 504 East Carver Road, Tempe, Arizona, 85284.
thank you. Is anyone here, or I'm sorry, on the line this afternoon wanting to talk about agenda item number 2?
Madam Hearing Officer, no one online.
Thank you. I'll make a note for the record. There's no one here in the chamber, I believe, who wants to speak on agenda item number 2. I know you're here for a different case, so everyone else is City of Tempe staff. So thank you for the updated pictures. As I mentioned, it's only gotten worse since November. This case was initiated in April of last year, and I know you've had repeated attempts at contacting the property owner to obtain compliance. And within that 9-month period, you've also had 5 complaints. So the neighbors are getting quite frustrated with this property owner. So given the nature and condition of the property and the fact that the property owner has not been responsive to your efforts, I'm going to go ahead and approve your 180-day open abatement request for the property located at 504 East Carver Road, contained in case CE 252390. Thank you. That brings us to agenda item number 3. This is a request for approval to abate public nuisance items at the Schmidt property. This property is located at 1552 East Drake Drive. The applicant is the City of Tempe Code Compliance, represented once again by Code Inspector Melissa Ensing.
Thank you. As stated before, I'm Melissa Ensing, and I'm a Code Compliance Inspector with the City of Tempe Code Compliance Division. I'm here this evening to request a 100-day open abatement for the property located at 1552 East Drake Drive, Tempe, Arizona, 85283. This case was initiated on March 12, 2025, for a dead tree in the rear yard. I have sent 4 correction notices to the property owner for dead tree, deteriorated landscape in the front and rear yards, alley obstruction, uncultivated vegetation in the alley, commercial equipment and materials, trash and debris. I have been in contact with the owner and have discussed the violations. I've given him CARE 7 HART contact information for programs through the City of Tempe. One citation was issued to the owner on August 20th, 2025. The owner failed to appear in court. The owner has been able to remove the dead tree and correct the alley violations. At this time, I'd like to present photos taken today of the existing violations.
Thank you.
And this photo is the overview of the front yard. He was able to correct the front yard violations at this time. In this view, you can see in the backyard all the commercial equipment, miscellaneous items that related to pool supplies. As you can tell, it starts from the alley block wall all the way to the front of the house and then across. Here's another angle, closer view, showing just how full of the backyard is with all this equipment. And it goes all the way to the other side as well. This is just another view of the backyard, showing all the equipment and supplies. As stated before, I am seeking a 180-day open abatement for the commercial equipment, materials, trash, and debris located at 1552 East Drake Drive, Tempe, Arizona, 85283 property.
Thank you. Mr. DeFar, is anyone on the line wanting to speak about this item?
Madam Hearing Officer, no one online.
Thank you. Again, I'll make a note for the record. Everyone here, with the exception of one individual for a later case, is with the City of Tempe. So given the state of the property, I mean, I'm glad the property owner was able to address the items at the front of the house, but nevertheless, all of these items in the backyard, I believe, fall under the junk, trash, and debris collection, which is a violation of the Tempe City Code. This one, again, this one's longer than the case before it. It's been going on for 10 months. So this property owner has had ample time, 4 different notices, outreach by you, and within that 10-month period has not really done much of anything except for the front yard to clean up the mess in the backyard. So I'm going to go ahead and approve your 180-day open abatement request for the property located at 1552 East Drake Drive, contained in case CE 251565. Thank you.
Thank you.
This brings us to agenda item number 4. This is a request to abate public nuisance items at the Abbott Trust property. This property is located at 328 East Palmcroft Drive here in the City of Tempe. The applicant is the City of Tempe, represented this afternoon by Inspector John Salazar. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Madam Hearing Officer. My name is John Salazar, and I am a Code Inspector Supervisor with the City of Tempe Community Enhancement Division. I'm here this evening to request a 180-day open abatement for the property located at 328 East Palmcroft Drive, Tempe 85282. This case was initiated from a public complaint on September 17th, 2025 for overhigh grass and weeds and a deteriorated landscape throughout the property. On 9/18/25, the property was inspected and observed to have deteriorated landscape in the front, sides, and rear of the property, as well as dead tree debris in the front driveway area and throughout the property. A first correction notice was sent to the homeowner. On September 19th of 2025, we received another public complaint about the deteriorated landscape. On 10/2/25, the property was re-inspected and all the violations were still present. A final correction notice was mailed to the property, the homeowner. Between October 20th and November 13th of 2025, the property was inspected a few more times, and we were unable to contact anyone at the property. The violations were still present at that time. On November 13th, 2025, a neighbor contacted Code Compliance and reported the owner of the property, a Mr. John Abbott, had possibly been deceased for 5 years. The house was possibly left to a sister or nephew from California. Attempts were made to contact any family members with no success. On November 4th and December 5th, the property was inspected 2 more times and the violations were still present. On December 10th of 25, a revised filing notice and the notice of intent to abate were sent out to the property via mail for the violations of deteriorated landscape and junk, trash, and debris. Both notices were also posted to the property for the January 20th hearing, this abatement hearing today. I would now like to show pictures taken of the property today.
Did the notices come back to you?
They did not, no ma'am.
Okay.
This is just a quick view of the front of the property. As you can see, you have a lot of overgrowth here in the front yard. It's kind of starting to creep into the sidewalk here. Can you hear me? Sorry. Thanks, sir. As you can see in the front, you have some overgrowth in the whole front yard here. A lot of this growth is starting to go into the sidewalk, and you can partially see dead portions of the large tree in the front yard. Just a close-up view of the dead tree in the front. You can see the dead portions on the front of the large tree and just the overheight growth in the front yard. This is a picture of the debris that was cut down at some point and left in the driveway of the actual home. You can see there's growth all along the driveway here that's growing in. The growth is actually coming across the sidewalk, and it's overgrown on both sides of the property as well. I believe the car belongs to a neighbor.
Okay.
Just a separate view here of the front yard. As you can see, the overgrowth all along here on the driveway starting to creep over into the sidewalk, and it's pretty much dead and deteriorated throughout most of the front yard. As we move to the backyard, just a close-up view of the overgrowth all throughout the backyard. As you can see in this photo, there's a dead tree on the property as well with a bunch of dead limbs. In the back here, I believe these are cut dead pieces of the portion of this tree that have been left in the backyard and all of the overgrowth. And then a couple of the other photos, when I get to them, will show different angles of the growth as well. Just a close-up photo of the side of the garage in the backyard. You can see all the wood, dead wood piled up here. As you can see in here, we have multiple palm dead fronds here hanging down onto the ground. This tree definitely has some dead portions of it as well, and just the overgrowth all throughout here on the bottom. A couple of plastic broken chairs and some other miscellaneous items. Here's a little closer up view of all of the dead wood that had been piled up there in the back of the house, and then all of the overgrowth in the backyard. This is just a close-up version of the dead tree in the backyard. As you can see, all the dead limbs on the tree. It looks like the top may have been cut off, and I believe that's what these portions that were left there for quite a bit of time, and just the overgrowth and the dead portions in the backyard. And then last but not least, as you can see, this is a kind of a close-up of the back patio area. As you can see, the dead palm fronds hanging down all over the palm trees there. There is a bunch of plastic boxes, trash bags that are piled up almost up to the roof here of the back patio there that have been there for quite some time. Madam Hearing Officer, again, as I stated earlier, I'm requesting 180 open abatement for deteriorated landscape and junk trash and debris for the property located at 328 East Palmcroft Drive, Tempe 85282. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. DeFara, anyone on the line?
Madam Hearing Officer, no one online.
Okay, thank you. Once again, I'll note for the record, there doesn't appear to be anyone here wanting to speak on the Abbott Trust property. So given the state of the property, given the fact that there doesn't appear to be an owner available to address these items, it's pretty cut and dry. I'm going to approve your 180-day open abatement request for the Abbott Trust property located at 328 East Palmcroft Drive, contained in case CE 255612.
Thank you, Madam Hearing Officer.
You're welcome. This brings us to agenda item number 5. This is a request for approval to abate public nuisance items at the Hale property. This property is located at 1849 East Hayden Lane here in the city of Tempe. The applicant is City of Tempe Code Compliance, represented this afternoon by Code Inspector Andres Lara Reyes. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Madam Hearing Officer. My name is Andres Lara Reyes, Code Inspector with the City of Tempe Community Enhancement Division. I'm here this evening to request an 180-day open abatement for the property located at 1849 East Hayden Lane, Tempe, Arizona, 85281. Owner, Mr. Whitney Hale. This case dates back to October 27, 2021, where a complaint was received by our office for trash, litter, and debris, and excessive storage in the front, sides, and backyard areas of the property. Violation of City of Tempe Nuisance Code 213B1, which states filthy litter, debris, or trash cover exterior areas, including exterior areas under any roof, not enclosed by the walls, doors, or windows of any building. I've spoken to the owner 3 times from the date this case was originated. Correction notice to bring the property into compliance were mailed and posted to the property on October 27, 2021, December 7, 2021, and June 2nd, 2022. There has been 4 civil citations and 1 criminal citation issued to Mr. Hale for the violation where he was found responsible. Based on the condition of the property on November 7th, 2025, an abatement process was scheduled. At this time, I would like to present photos taken as of this morning, the condition of the property. As you see in the photos, the property remains in violation for trash, litter, debris, and excessive storage in the front, sides, and backyard areas of the property.
Thank you.
I'm going to begin starting from the west side of the property. It's kind of like the front west side, what you can see. You can see here, there's some wood stacked against the fence. There's some other materials here on the side of the house. Some buckets, some trash and debris there by the tree. Show a better photo here of more of a close-up of the back of the property on the west side. You can see some more trash and debris. This will be a better close-up here. As you can see, he has stored a lot of trash and debris, different materials. Towards the back, he has some shelving, items covering tarps. There's different trash all through that side. And also here's a better close-up of towards the back, where he has plastic crates and shelving, other stuff, other materials. This is more like the front side of this home here. He has some other, litter and debris in the front there, in the front of the door. This is taken from the east side of the property, as you're facing west. Some trash and debris there. And this is also taken from the east side, where you can see some discarded wood, some more trash and debris. And this will give us a better close-up of the east side of the property. And this is more of a close-up. This is the side of the property. This is the east side, where you can see items covered with tarps, shelving, trash and debris. And this is more of a close-up towards the back, where he has some kind of storage back there with debris. As stated before, I'm seeking a 180-day open abatement for trash, litter, debris, and excessive storage stored at 1849 East Henry Lane.
Thank you. I just have a couple of questions. I noticed in the packet that at one point the property owner had applied for a use permit and it was denied. What was that use permit for?
Madam Hearing Officer, I believe just for clarification, the inspector can answer that question, but for tonight's hearing, really it's, according to the Zoning and Development Code, Section 1-305, we're really only here to pursue violations of Chapter 21,
Okay.
Tempe City Nuisance Code, so.
Okay, and just another quick question. Does the property have a certificate of occupancy?
Again, I believe the inspector can answer that question, but it's really only for Chapter 21
Okay.
City Nuisance Code. Thank you.
Okay, and really it was just for my general knowledge, because from the looks of it, it's hard to tell if it's habitable or not. So it was just a curiosity. Mr. DeFar, is anyone online wanting to talk about this case?
Madam Hearing Officer, no one online. There might be one person present that's observing.
Okay, thank you. Sir, did you want to talk about this agenda item, or are you just observing for a family member?
I was speaking with Drew earlier. I think that we kind of like figured out that the issue was communication. So obviously I'd like for this, let's not do the abatement. And I'll communicate with Drew. But if that's not, I'll leave it up to you and whatever the process may be. We just got our building permit. So
Okay, just real quick, can you, since we're going to have a little bit of a discussion, can you just come up and say your name for the record? Because it's hard for the public record to,
that makes sense.
yeah.
Sir, just state your name and your city of residency.
My name is Whitney Hale, but a different Whitney Hale.
Different Whitney
Benjamin Tyrrell, Whitney Benjamin Tyrrell Hale. And I live in Phoenix. So we just got our building permit maybe 10 days ago.
Okay,
That was the issue that you had mentioned earlier. It's since been solved and with the building department. And so like now it is a construction site, obviously not active right now, but I think that he mentioned that this process started in 2021, and if we were to go back and look at the pictures when it was inactive, that was when it had just stopped being an active construction site. Until now, you'll notice a significant reduction in the amount of things that are in the yard. I would say that none of what is in the yard is trash. Everything that's in the yard has a purpose. I mean, there's plumbing pipes. There's some storage items that were mentioned that were previously used to store wood, and now that wood has been used. So the storage racks remain because the construction is not complete. But other than that, I think that is there anything that I can say that you guys are looking for that would, stop the process of the 180-day abatement?
to be quite honest, probably not. Because as you saw with the other cases, the things that I evaluate are the length of time that the case has been going on. So this has been, as you just said, since 2021, so over 4 years. During that time period, different processes have taken place. But once things come to me, I have to evaluate the totality of the evidence, and thus far, there's not been adequate process or progress towards code compliance. So I don't know if you were in the room or not when I read my preamble, which I always read into the record, that basically says, I grant the city the abatement. It doesn't happen tomorrow. It happens within 2 weeks. If you were able to bring the property into compliance within the next 2 weeks, then the property would not be abated. But, it seems like there's a lot of work that needs to be done on the property. So that's something you guys could work towards, cleaning up the property to the satisfaction of code compliance and making sure that it complies with the code. If that takes place within 2 weeks, then the abatement would go away. But nevertheless, I would have given code compliance the tools that they need to stay on top of this property so that it is brought into compliance and remains in compliance.
Okay, and all that makes sense to me, and I'm relatively new to this situation. Wouldn't it also be valid to consider that we haven't been able to make any progress on the property because of not having the ability to construct legally and finish the project legally, which is a process that we set aside, cleaning the property up and eliminating hundreds of thousands of dollars of materials so that we could go through the city's process correctly and get all the permits required to build the property in compliance with the city. And we just got that confirmation 10 days ago. And now we're, it's just tough because now that process is all complete, there's another process that we have to go through. And speaking with Drew, I totally understand, communication is 100% what we need here. So if there's, anything that we can say or, do to, potentially push this to another date, if we do not make progress, that would be fantastic. But if it sounds from what you said that there's really nothing that we can do.
Well, to answer your question, just the way the building department can't what do I want to say, obviate any responsibility I have to abate a property, I can't do the same based on what they're doing. They're processes that run concurrently and not, one doesn't stop the other. So you will be going through these processes simultaneously. You've got your building permit, that's awesome. I think you can go ahead and move forward with your construction project. But by the same token, that doesn't make the need for the property abatement to go away, especially given that it's been 4 years.
What if I just asked really, really nice?
Well, what if I say no really, really nicely?
I would appreciate it, but I would still, ask you to reconsider.
Well, I have considered.
Okay.
I've considered, as I mentioned before, the totality of the evidence, the photographs in my packet, which were a few months ago, the photographs that were taken today. There's still a number of items. And let me tell you, these guys sitting behind you, they will work with you. They're good guys. They want to help you bring your property into code compliance. That's the main objective of the city. It's not to ding you for different violations. It's to bring the property into compliance for the benefit of your property and the neighborhood and the city overall. So they will work with you. They will help you to determine what materials possibly can be preserved so that they can be used in the future, what are not likely to be, able to be used in a construction process. So they will work with you. I can guarantee it, Jack Schofield sitting behind you, this is not his first rodeo. He's done this a number of years. So has Andreas behind you as well. So I think to keep the progress going on that you've already made on your property and getting your building permit, this process can continue. And you've got a couple of weeks, like I said, if you make really good, significant progress within that 2-week window, then we don't talk about the abatement anymore. But I feel that I have an obligation to the city, to the neighborhood, and to code compliance to give them the tools to keep the processes moving.
Okay. This is.
I assume you are Mr. Hale Sr.
I'm Mr. Hale, and I'm the owner of the property. And I'm not sure what I did have a conversation outside with the department heads, and so I don't know what has been discussed in here. I heard 2 weeks, which concerns me. What do I have to do within 2 weeks? And this is a state required ordinance or code or law that a building, a property with a building permit has to stage it in a certain way?
I mean, I believe so. I believe, this is a property within the city of Tempe, and we see this a lot. We see this in properties that are undergoing redevelopment where a building has been demolished. Yes, there is a responsibility. I can't quote chapter and verse of the building code, but you have to do it in a responsible manner. You have to do it in an organized fashion. You can't just have a site, have an accumulation of what is referred to as junk, trash, and debris. That's not my language. That's the language in the code. So yeah, there is an obligation to do that. Any construction site you see around the city of Tempe has to do it in an orderly fashion. And, this process is to ensure that you bring the property into compliance with the code. The 2-week window is something, when I render my decision today to grant code compliance, 180-day open abatement, the next 2 weeks would be critical for you. If you want to clean up your property, possibly store some of the construction materials off-site, clean it up to the satisfaction of code compliance, then the abatement would not take place. But if you don't do that within the next couple of weeks, the abatement will take place. As I was mentioning to your son, I have to evaluate the length of time that the case has been going on, the level of progress that's taken place. This has been going on for 4 years, so it's not a new case. So, you know, I think 2 weeks is fair. I think you could probably accomplish a lot if you put your mind to it. But I think that's fairest for the city and your neighbors and yourself as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. So we've heard testimony from the property owner, the property owner's representative. We've seen photographs, and Code Inspector Reyes has shown ample photographs and evidence that he's given the property owner ample time to bring the property into code compliance. So I am going to go ahead and approve the 180-day open abatement request for the property located at 1849 East Hayden Lane, contained in KCE 216657. And again, this is the Hale property at 1849 East Hayden. So thank you. Thank you guys for coming this afternoon. I hope you're able to make some good progress to the satisfaction of code compliance in the next couple of weeks.
Thank you, Madam Hearing Officer.
Thank you. That brings us to the last item on our agenda. This is a request for approval to abate public nuisance items. This is the Miles property located at 702 East Taylor Street. The applicant is the City of Tempe, represented this afternoon by Code Inspector Michael Moreno. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Madam Hearing Officer. My name is Michael Moreno, and I am a Code Compliance Inspector with the City of Tempe Code Compliance Division. I am here this evening to request a 180-day open abatement for the property located at 702 East Taylor Street, Tempe, Arizona, 85281. This case was initiated on June 24th, 2025, after Code Compliance received an anonymous complaint about deteriorated landscape and trash and debris in the front and rear of the property. On June 25th, 2025, an initial inspection was conducted, and the violations were confirmed at that time. The first notice was mailed to the property owner, Chris Miles. On July 30th, 2025, a follow-up inspection was conducted at the property. The violations had not been corrected, and a final notice was mailed to the property owner, Chris Miles. On September 2nd, 2025, another follow-up inspection was conducted at the property. The violations had not been corrected. I attempted to contact the property owner on site and left a contact slip on the door. On September 8th, 2025, I received an email from a Lois Miles stating that she would rent a dumpster to remove the trash and debris, and that her oldest son, Charles, would be helping with the violations. At that time, I provided the information for CARE 7 and granted the first extension. From September 8th, 2025 to September 25th, 2025, very little progress had been made to correct the violations on the property. And I had attempted to contact Mr. and Mrs. Miles multiple times with no answer. On October 2nd, 2025, I conducted a follow-up inspection at the property. The violations had not been corrected. I spoke with the property owner's son, Charles, at the property, who stated due to medical reasons, they were not able to correct the violations. At that time, I provided information for CARE 7 and granted the second extension. On October 17th, 2025, a citation was issued to the property owner, Chris Miles. The fines had not been paid for this citation. On December 8th, 2025, the notice of intent to abate was mailed and posted to the property. I would now like to present the photos taken today of the existing violations.
Thank you. Yeah, the photos in my packet are dated December 8th.
So the first photo here is of the front of the property, and I'm not sure if the photos that you have, they were able to get, looks like a lawnmower or a weed whacker out there and kind of hit a lot of the overheight grass and weeds. That being said, we do still have some deterioration in the front, as well as some trash and debris. Here you can see we have some, looks like Amazon boxes that have been sitting up here a while, as well as here on the side of the property, there's some overheight grass and weeds right here on the fence and a little bit more trash and debris. As well, right here we can see that we have some of the palm fronds that are still kind of hanging off the tree, as well as littered in the front yard area. A lot of these overheight grass and weeds are going through the concrete, as well as a lot of big deteriorated bald spots there in the front of the property. Here is another photo from the opposite corner of the front of the property there. This is on the north side of the property facing south. Like I stated before, we can see we have some of the palm fronds that are just kind of hanging here, not really attached to the tree anymore, as well as littered here in the front yard area. We do have some overheight grass and weeds that it's coming through the fence slats here on the side, as well as growing here throughout the sidewalk. This photo here was taken in the alley. This is on the north side of the property facing south. This one is just to kind of illustrate, we have some overheight grass and weeds here still in the alley, as well as some overgrowth, some trees or bush type vegetation right here that is actually growing into the alley that is impeding city vehicles from traveling to and from the alley there. As well as we can see here, we have this tree here that's growing kind of over to the side. It has been trimmed a little bit here on the side, but it is actually encroaching on the neighboring property, as well as sticking over the fence into the alley as well with this branch here. This photo here is the other corner. This would be the northwest corner of the property there facing south. As you can see, we have some overheight grass and weeds here in the alley, as well as you can see the trees or bushes here that are growing into the alley as well. And we can start to see some of the trash and debris that's in the rear yard here. I have some pictures here with some close-ups to get a better view. So here is also taken from the alley. As you can see, we have a lot of trash and debris, old boxes, bins. There's a lot of laundry baskets. Here we have a refrigerator that is face down, as well as miscellaneous buckets and deteriorated chairs. Back in this corner here, we have a jacuzzi that is deteriorated in nature, as well as a lot of the overheight grass and weeds and miscellaneous tarps and things like that. This is the northwest side of the property. The biggest thing here, we can see we have some makeshift shelters. I attempted to contact to see if anybody was living in the rear yard. I have not made contact with anybody, but the fact that we have suitcases and laundry and obviously makeshift shelters here, it appears that homeless are starting to move into the rear of the property as this case progresses. Like I stated, we have different bins, laundry, a lot of this overgrowth here, a lot of the trash and debris has actually grown up, or the overheight grass and weeds, excuse me, has grown up through a lot of the trash and debris in the rear yard. And the final photo here is on the northeast side of the property. I know it's kind of difficult to see. We do have this jacuzzi that's back here that is full of trash and debris, as well as giant pieces of foam, deteriorated wheelchair furniture, concrete debris, miscellaneous trash. Here we have some tables that are actually grown into, or the overheight grass and weeds have grown into the tables there as well. As I stated before, I am seeking a 180-day open abatement for the violations of junk, trash, and debris and deteriorated landscaping located at the 702 East Taylor Street property.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the updated photos. Mr. DeFara, anyone on the line wanting to talk about this item?
Madam Hearing Officer, no one online.
Thank you, and I don't believe there's anyone here in the audience wanting to speak on agenda item number 6. Well, given the state of the property and the fact that it's not really secured with that back chain link fence, so it looks like people are starting to move into the property, which is not a good thing. And also given the lack of responsiveness on the part of the property owner, I'm going to go ahead and approve your 180-day open abatement request for the property at 702 East Taylor Street, contained in application CE 253851. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Hearing Officer.
That concludes our agenda for this evening. Staff, do we have any announcements?
Madam Hearing Officer, one announcement. Our next hearing officer is scheduled for Tuesday, February 3rd, here at 5 o'clock in the Tempe Council Chambers and live on Tempe 11.
Great. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming today. We're adjourned.